thank you so much for being here, and I can already tell how good it sounds, so thank you again. Welcome to our regular scheduled meeting of the Floresville City Council for July the 11th, 2019 at 6 o'clock. Please rise for our invocation followed by our pledge of allegiance. Let us bow our heads. Father in heaven, we give you tonight's meeting. We pray for direction for the city of Floresville. As you tell us in Proverbs 3, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we hand over this meeting to our Lord and Savior, and we say this as we say amen. Thank you. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. All members of the Floresville City Council are in attendance. Mrs. Cantu, Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Ortiz, myself, Cissy Gonzalez-Little, Mrs. Martinez, and Ms. Jimenez. Thank you so much. At this point, we will allow any citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizens that have a concern about our community. Yes, sir. Mr. Eidert.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, and council members, and staff, and the people here present today. I have a little concern that I would like to explain, and it has to do with the event center. At this time, I'm actually representing the citizens of Floresville at taxpayer. Concerning the event center on item K that is on our agenda on tonight, the event center sometimes I'm not able to make money. It's not always able to make the payments on the mortgage. So when this happens, the city is the co-signer of the bond, and therefore we have to pay for it. So the next item I got is that P&B Entertainment conduct professional boxing events at this particular location. On the last event, over 1,600 people attended the center, and the event center opened one concession. They were overwhelmed because they only was expecting 800 people. This time, we're expecting 2,400 people. The event center is prepared with a concession, and they're going to open 4 of the concessions this time. The sponsor hotel, the Holiday Inn, last time it was filled. Most hotels in here are running 50% vacancy. They overfilled, so I don't know, they have 200 rooms or 100, but they overfill, and then they have to send the customers to the other hotel. So it's kind of clear for the fact that this event do generate tax revenue on taxes. It paid the bill at the event center, and it would pay more than it is. So in consideration of this kind of event, and so on that, I would like to, there was a comment that they plan to charge parking. It's my opinion that charging for parking will throw the event under the bus. People are used not to pay parking, and when you do that, from my experience, is that they get caught the first time, but the second time, they don't come back. We have a good thing here based on what happened last time. This time, even Netflix is going to be involved. Mr. Moreno came in from Telemundo. This is going to probably receive about 750,000 viewers worldwide on this event. So when instead of charging for parking, let me make a suggestion that maybe we increase the price of the drink at the event center so they can compensate the city for that amount. This is proper, and then rather than lose a good thing that it generate more business. I would like to, when the item come up to assist Mr. Morones in the process, or any question that you all might have, direct it to him, and go over the applications that you already have in hand. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments at this time? If not, moving on to our public meeting. Public meeting to inform the general public of an application filed with the USDA Rural Development Rural Housing Service for financial assistance under the Community Facilities Loan and Grant Program to purchase 3 new vehicles for the police department. This meeting is being held at the request of the funding agency, which of course is the USDA Rural Development Rural Housing Service, to acquaint all interested parties on economic and environmental impact service area and all areas. Mrs. Turner?
Thank you. Can you please, for the record, note the time?
Yes, the time of the public hearing started at 6:05.
Yes, in your packages, you have the application itself, and we have the detective here who actually wrote the application along with Helen Martinez, USDA consultant, and so he will be here to go over the generalities of that and answer any questions that you or the public may have. Detective?
Good evening, Council. Gilbert Rodriguez, Floresville Police Department. So with the help of Helen Martinez, we typed up a grant to purchase new vehicles for the police department. As you all know, the police department is in dire need of new vehicles. Some of the vehicles we have are over 130,000 miles and about 10 years old or so. The project, or the grant, is for 3 vehicles, and
I apologize, I need to turn this off.
so the grant can pay up to 35% or $50,000 of the project. For the 3 vehicles, roughly it's about $126,000. That's for the vehicles and all the other expenditures that's necessary to get it on the road, patrol ready. Because there's ample amount of funds, or surplus of funds in this particular grant, what I'm being told is they can pay more than $50,000. They didn't give me an exact figure because it needs to go to the underwriter in order for me to figure it out. But the city would pay the difference.
Okay, I think one of the big questions will be where will this money come from?
Well, in speaking to, can you want me to? So in speaking to Betty Soto, when we had our follow-up meeting, she said that the city's match, just roughly, please don't hold her to it, it's about $55,000 that we could be able to do so. So we've actually already contacted to see that you will probably have to do a better beginning to use some of your tax note funds to be able to do this, but we wanted to wait until we actually have been awarded the grant, and then we can definitely transfer the funds due to the council approving those funds to be transferred.
Any other comments by the council?
No, just, as for myself, I think this is a great deal. We don't have to fund all the money ourselves right now, being that we're money crunching, so I think it's a good idea.
I believe the officer said there were 3 applications for 3 vehicles. It comes to about $151,000 for all 3. They run about $50,000 a piece. So we'll pay for 1 and get 2. It's a Best Buy logo for those who shop that you could do. And so, and we will be hopefully doing it in this fiscal year, but there is a surplus of funds because a lot of people haven't been able to put themselves together to put the application together. And so we're hoping that we can use that. It will be available for us to do it again next year, so true, but we want to do 3 at a time and see what we can do. So this is a requirement for us to have it. It's also in the newspaper. We've met, and I know, Councilman, you asked about that application. It came about very quickly. Congressman Coyar's office actually definitely put us in touch with that and actually gave us a recommendation and helped us to expedite this application.
Any comments? Any citizens' comments? If not, thank you very much. And that concludes our public meeting at 6:10.
Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, consideration action to approve the minute meetings for the regular council meeting on June 27th of 2019. Council, I know you had them in your packet. Hopefully you had time to go over it.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the meetings for the regular council meeting on June the 27th, 2019.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as prepared. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by, motion on the floor by Mrs. Cantu, second by Mrs. Martinez. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Moving on to our next presentation, our parks update, Heartland Parks, and we have Sean Spencer here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm here to give an update on the ongoing project in the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant in the Riverside Park. Kind of up to date with projects we've been working on are the football field, the playground and swings, the completion of the batting cage, kind of going from the baseball project, the football concession stand, the splash pad, the roadway that connects the two parks together, and the sidewalk that connects the two parks together. Kind of left on this phase, and in the phases we talked about whenever we kicked off this meeting, because it's a refund type project. So we do work, we draw, you pay to draw, the state pays you back half, and then it kind of helps to fund itself along. The things remaining in the phases that Ms. Turner has kind of turned us loose on are the Lions Club Park renovation down by the pool. The shade is on order, should hit the site probably next week, and it'll be ready to go up. It's a big shade that covers the entire playground over there. There's some other kind of sundry things. I think we're replacing the swings and the surfacing over at Lions Park. And then, you know, completion of the splash pad kind of is the biggest thing we have left on the phase one that we're on. Probably what we expect the next phase to be will be the amphitheater, the picnic areas that are scattered throughout the park, and the renovation of the two pavilions, the two existing pavilions. And that's about all the update that I have. Any questions?
When you were here the last time, did you give us a final date, because the splash pad and various other parts of it were supposed to be finished in March? That's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I look back at our minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the delay on the splash pad? Because I know a lot of people were looking forward to using that during the summer.
Absolutely. The splash pad, the concrete is complete. The toys are plumbed in, all the plumbing's in, the building is up, the house is the manifold and all the water treatment system. Really all we have left to do right now is to connect the pad to the water treatment system. That's the main thing that we have left. Not a whole lot of work involved in that. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 days to get that done. We have draw number 2 has been, I guess, with Ms. Turner or with you guys, however it works, for about 5 weeks now. The things that we've drawn on the splash pad are just the materials. I think 35% of the concrete, 75% of the pipe, and the rock base that's underneath the main concrete spray area. So we were, they're ready to go complete it, but we need to get the first invoice cleared before we set them off for more work going on to the next invoice, basically.
I was going to ask, our attorney couldn't be here tonight, but she has her assistant, Michael Zamora, here. On the contract, doesn't it have a time stipulation on some of this?
It does have a clause, however, it's based on the refund and the grant, so it's going to be hard to hold to a date because it's based on, we have to get it refunded from the state. And
it was 10 months from notice to proceed, so that puts us in about October, and I don't see really any problem with hitting that target date. Even with the reimbursement and the way it's a little slower, I don't see any problem in hitting that day.
Has there been any change in the size of the splash pad?
No, ma'am, never. It's 1,800 or 1,900 square feet, I believe, overall the area. That's been the same since the inception, the very first design.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How much is the total amount for the first phase? That phase that y'all are working on?
How much is the total project, or just the phase what we're working on?
The phase that y'all working on.
Do you know off the top of your head? I want to say between the things that I listed that we're working on, I think it's probably about 375. That's my best guess. I can get you an accurate number emailed over to Ms. Turner, but I think it's in that neighborhood.
Yes.
How about the T-ball? Were y'all supposed to put some dirt on there, or that little, the field that's way back there?
All the way in the back. So we went in and we cut a ditch that ties that kind of that area back into the main drainage system. And kind of the idea was to do that. We did haul in some dirt. We built up the field that's closest to the drainage ditch right there in order to cut that ditch. And kind of the idea is to let it rain, let it see how it operates, and see if we still are holding water anywhere. Up to now, it's really not holding water. It's holding water in the ditch right there, and we're picking up some dirt on the roadway that we're building to connect. We're going to pick up a good amount of dirt whenever we bury the tank for the splash pad that holds the water. And so the idea is that we're going to pick up some excess dirt, and we can dispose of that dirt over in that T-ball area.
Okay, but it's still holding water.
Is it holding water pretty bad? Okay.
And then another thing too is, I don't know if they had told you about it, but around the fields, on the chaining fence, all our netting's gone.
Okay.
And I don't know if y'all didn't tie it down right, we lost it all, or
The wind,
or it wasn't a good netting, one of the two.
The biggest thing with the netting on the main field that doesn't have any netting at all is the difficulty with just the non-prevailing wind in that area, because typically if you have a prevailing wind, you know, if it blows in, you put the netting on the back side of the fence. If it comes from another way, you put it on the front side of the fence. We put it on the back side, it all blew off. We put it on the front side, it all blew off. The wind just kind of comes in a cyclone pattern through that little.
I don't think they've ever replaced it.
No, it's not. It hasn't been replaced. No, sir. And so I'm looking at
It's only been put on one side, but it doesn't look nice when
that field.
you have everybody coming to the games and stuff. And
Sure. Yeah.
Netting flying all over the place.
Yeah, and the netting, I think some of the netting has been removed. The most problematic netting, I think we had a couple of fields that say.
When are you going to replace it?
We'll replace it through this phase before we're done. I mean, right now I'm trying to come up with the best solution on how to get some up there that'll stay.
Okay, and on this check that you're submitting, it's 175. That's for 50% of your labor costs. I mean your material costs. That's what you're asking for 50%.
It's on the labor. We don't have a lot of labor.
Not the labor. I'm talking about for everything. You know, if your project is 350, right?
Yes,
375.
Somewhere in that.
So this would be 50%.
Yes, sir. Thereabouts. Yes, sir. Yep. And the biggest thing that's on the draw that you had is the materials for the splash pad. That's a big ticket item. I mean, that's the most expensive thing that we have in this whole project. So that's kind of the biggest thing that's on the draw right now. And we've worked, that's what I say, we've worked way ahead of the draw. I mean, the splash pad, the concrete's done, the sidewalk's done, the base is done, the plumbing's done. We've not yet been able to draw for any of that up to this point.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I think it's safe to say, I mean, that's what I do too. I do contract work, and I always get 50% up before I even start the job.
Mm-hmm.
For materials and part of the labor, you know. And I think that's safe. 175 would be.
And we're at a probably negative 40% point right now because we've gotten so far ahead of that draw. We're basically a whole nother draw in because we did, you know, the biggest thing, especially in the summer when it's busy, is, you know, when construction's busy, you don't want to lose your crews, right? If they have to pull off and mobilize because things are problematic, it's hard to get them back on. So I've just kept funding them and kept them going just to keep men on the job so we can get this thing done by October, which I don't think is, I think is very possible.
Mrs. Martinez.
Yes,
I know that the city staff has fixed that, whatever it is, fence around there a couple of times, and it's not very durable because it just comes up. I know they went ahead and screwed it down and put
Yes,
screws
ma'am.
on there, but it didn't last, so
You know,
it's not very durable.
It's not, and the material that the manufacturer ships with to install that netting material, the thing it's called the windscreen, which is kind of ironic because it's not dealing with the wind very well. But they send is kind of a big heavy duty like zip tie. It's probably like an inch wide zip tie that's made to where it doesn't degrade in the sun. And so you zip tie the material on and you cut the little tails off. We installed it with that first and it blew off. I mean, literally the day after we installed it, the bottom of it was flapping. And so we went back, we installed it with some wire, we tried some different things, and are just having some, just the wind, when it comes a lot there. And, you know, the kind of the thought now is to get some that kind of have a scallop in them that will kind of allow some more wind to go through, or to see if we can find one that's a larger mesh size, so it's not doesn't resist the wind so much.
Why don't you check around on some of the other parks that is
What they're
a better
doing.
durable one?
Yeah.
Because I go to all those baseball parks and they're just still up.
They're holding up, and we've installed miles of that stuff, and we've never had these kind of issues with it blowing off. But there's a fix in there somewhere, and we'll come up with it.
What you're saying is that you might use a better material or something to replace that?
Or a less dense material probably is a better way to put it, because I think it's just resisting that wind so much right now that if it's a larger pore size, like I guess you would call that like a looser weave of the material, that would let the wind come through a little bit better.
Okay, thanks, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Cantu, did you have a?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, when are they gonna start the theater back there?
I think that will be in our next phase once we're done with this stuff. So I think that should be next. And I mean, if the way progress is going, and if once we get the draws resolved, I mean, that could be, you know, in a couple of weeks, basically, we could get started on that part.
And where is it gonna be?
It is so if you're walking on the big wide sidewalk from the Peanut sign. If you're walking on that sidewalk and you go in and there's the circle around the big tree. So if you take the left circle and go around the tree, there's a shade about dead center in that. It's going to be straight down the hill, down below that. And so kind of the idea is that the amphitheater sits down there, and that allows seating on the grass area kind of all around that. And then your handicap access and your handicap seating is up on the top on the long, wide, the 12-foot wide sidewalk up there. So it gives good access and gives a good slope for
So it'll be like in the
presentations.
south? No.
Towards the river.
It'll be near the dirt road.
Yes, sir. Near the, we'll have access. We'll have ADA access coming off of the dirt road as a concrete ADA parking spot and a sidewalk tying into it. So for performers or whatever that might, and for unloading and loading of stuff, and also handicap access.
Yes, Councilman Ortiz.
Yes, can you update the council on the football fields?
Yes, sir. The football field, so the second football field, the construction of the field itself is completely done. It's irrigated, the dirt work is all done, everything's done. The field goals are there to install, and then that football field's ready to go. It's beautiful. I mean, the work done on it was spectacular. They did really good earthwork. It's got a really nice crown on it. It drains really well. And you know, so we have to with the shade that's coming for the big one for the playground by the swimming pool. We also have the shades that are the same as all the other ones in the park, the green shades with 2 posts on them. And so we have 2 more seating areas that are going in, and the field goals to be put up, and then those football fields are both ready to go.
Is it going to be completed for football season?
Well, when does football season start?
They're actually practicing right now, so it probably won't be for this season.
The biggest thing is the concession stand, you know, to provide restrooms and concessions for the football people. And that concession stand can be completed very quickly. I mean, it's up, the construction of it, I would say the shell, the building itself is probably 80–85% done. All the plumbing, all the electrical is all stubbed up. We just need to basically go in and finish it.
When is it going to be completed?
I mean, as soon as we get the pending draw resolved, it can be done in a week after that. No question about it.
Okay. I understand they're having a lot of trouble with the irrigation.
Some of the heads.
Heads and stuff are getting stuck, and there's water just draining all over in one area. You know, it's draining straight through there and not allowing the other ones to turn on.
Okay.
So.
And we've had our contractor that did the irrigation do a couple of different walkthroughs on it, and I can certainly have him come back again. He was here maybe 3 weeks ago. He doing the irrigation in the last football field that we built.
But they're not working.
The football field, I don't think it's turned on, and that's what I was speaking with Dino today, and I'm going to have the irrigation guy call him and give him a walkthrough on how it's all controlled in the same panel that's down at the baseball fields down there, and so I'll get him to walk through.
Some are turning on, some are not.
Okay.
And there's some that that's the only one, and you know, flooding the one whole area by
Sure.
itself.
Some of those heads probably need to be replaced, and maybe the risers, and that's what, you know, when you build and you're pulling back off those irrigation stuff is built well, but you hit those heads, they break. I mean, it requires some maintenance, but that's certainly on me, and I'll get the irrigation guy to go do a once through on that, on the whole facility. It's no problem.
If the next payment goes through and it does get signed, I'd like to see an update when we have our next city council meeting, either with yourself or management, to make sure
Sure.
that these things are being completed as opposed to being pushed off a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
We,
Yes, ma'am.
we want the football folks to be able to play as quickly as possible, and the splash pad, that was a big promise.
Yes, ma'am.
And it didn't come through.
Well, we still have summer left. I mean, I think we're well on the way to getting people playing on that splash pad. I don't think the splash pad doesn't require a lot. The concession stand, I mean, it's pretty simple from this point on. It's pretty easy. I mean, it's just completion, basically getting the fixtures in with the plumbers and the lights and stuff, and that it's fully operational. So, you know, I mean, let's say as soon as we get everything resolved, I can light a fire, and the guys that are doing the work are eager to get everything built. So and I don't have any problem coming back and presenting. I guess that's a month from now or whatever.
Mayor,
Hold on a second. It's probably in 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now? Okay, well, that's fine. I can, if we get everything resolved, I can come back. That's no problem. Yep.
Yes, Councilman?
I think, I don't know, do you need a consensus on get this check approved from all of us, or when it needs to be done, so that way we can get everything on the go?
No, we don't.
Okay,
There's no action on this one.
okay.
No action on this one.
And I've told Ms. Turner, and I'll tell all of you guys as well. If there's ever a question about anything on a draw, about what it is, why I'm invoicing for it, what exactly each line item is, if you don't have my telephone number by now, she has it, Ms. Turner definitely has it. Call me, tell me you want a meeting, I'll be down here, we'll sit down and go through it paper by paper. It's not a problem with me at all. Because sometimes they can be a little confusing, and I understand that.
I think the problem here, Mr. Spencer, is that I think you put on there that some projects were completed, and if you want to put it on there, I think nobody would have had an issue to giving you your 50% off.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes, sir.
I know you were probably thinking it was going to be completed or whatever, but it wasn't, and when they went to go look at it,
There was some concern.
it wasn't, there
Yeah,
wasn't
and
nothing there.
I think in this particular instance, I think the big, go
What I'm
ahead.
saying is, for the next time, I guess, or with anybody that who you're working with, hey, well, just, there's nothing wrong with asking for your 50% up, but don't say that something's finished or 100% complete, because then they're gonna go and check, and
It's
hey,
going to
it's
be a
not.
problem. Sure.
And I think that's what the problem is now.
And I think the biggest problem on this particular draw was the 100% on the materials for the splash pad, and I think there was some indication that I was representing that the splash pad was complete, but I was just invoicing for the materials that had arrived on the site.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily my
So
completion.
it was a misconception.
Yeah, a little bit of a miss, and that's like I say, the paperwork can be sort of confusing sometimes, and I don't have any problem with any one of you guys, or collectively as a group, or however it works. Call me, ask me, email me, I'll be able to provide
But
answers.
I believe that's what the problem was, so,
Okay,
anyway.
Do you have a card?
but probably not on me.
Okay.
But
I have your number.
I'm the worst about that. It's the simplest way to communicate, but I never have. She has all my contact information, and what I can do is, what I'll do is I'll email her just an email that's just a blank email with just my signature with my cell phone and all my contact, and she can forward it to all of you guys so everybody
That would
has
be
it.
very wise.
Okay, absolutely.
Any other comments by the council? Or
I was just going to say, I do understand on your end, Mr. Spencer, the concern about the draws, considering the invoice was dated for June 12th, and the check is dated for June 27th, and here we are almost a month later and no resolve. But do feel free to contact the city with your concerns as well,
Okay.
just to see if there are any clarifications
Sure.
that we have in place. as well.
Absolutely. And like I say, I understand paperwork can be confusing sometimes, and it is to me sometimes, and I deal with it all the time. So I'm always available to answer any questions to any one of you guys. It's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any citizens' comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be shifting around a little bit on the agenda due to time constraints by some of those here. So I'm moving on to presentation of item 3G, resolution 2018-002, and I have this listed under the city manager.
Oh, the G?
I thought it was the,
Yeah, I have it.
3G?
3G, resolution 2018 about the hotel motel tax.
what I have G there is, there wasn't on your appraisal
Under
district.
presentation.
Oh, in the presentation, I'm sorry. Yes, we have a recommendation here. We have, I spoke earlier today, speaking to a resolution. So the resolution is in your packet. That was passed some time ago. Let me get that in front of you. And so there was questions about what was actually allowed to be allowed from the hotel motel. As you see in about the fifth paragraph, it says that Councilman Juan Ortiz and Councilman Gleason believe that in the best interest of the city of Floresville is to establish a yearly cap for each award in the amount of $15,000. So I did have a discussion with Sylvia, the city attorney, and she said you need to look at the next paragraph, which says the city council further wish to establish an exception to be considered that is allowable as well. So that was what was established. I believe that date was 2018-02, signed by the mayor and the council on March 8th of 2018. And so we wanted to bring that before you. There was a question about was it in the bylaws. It is not in the bylaws because ultimately whatever that board actually recommends, they are a recommending body. The council, as you know, has the final say so.
Oh, I've got a question.
Yes.
Okay, as I recall, Ms. Ortiz and Nick Nissan were the ones that pushed for that. That $15,000 was way pretty high for any disbursement for any entity coming towards us. And we made a rule, which is this, that any disbursement of $15,000 with the exception of only the Peanut Festival. And I don't know why it wasn't put in here. But, you know, I think the total per year per entity is $15,000.
The ordinance that you see that you have before you, that's why they put it in your packet, it doesn't necessarily say, it just says that there can be an exception. I think Peanut Festival is one of the ones that they talked about.
Well,
In
but that's what they
generality.
said, with the exception of the Peanut Festival. That's the reason they put that last part in there. And I don't know why they didn't put it in there. And I guess I oversaw that. But
This was the resolution.
Ms. Ortiz and Nissan were pretty adamant on that. And I think Marissa and Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Roy Adrick, I think was on there too. No, he wasn't on there yet.
I was on that board, and I was actually coming and asking for funds at that time when that resolution was passed, and they did mention the Peanut Festival as being the only exception.
I remember that.
Okay, so, I mean, we're just clarifying.
Yes, sir, but I wanted to put into your packet what actually the city attorney prepared for you and what you all passed, and it doesn't necessarily specifically say Peanut Festival. What it specifically says is that there's allowed.
But what I'm
exception.
saying is that our city attorney did prepare this. This is a resolution that we passed. Maybe she asked you to put it in here, but I don't think she put it in here with that she did. Did she?
I didn't write this resolution, your attorney would have written the resolution. Read what to pass.
That's really not the question. The question would be for the council to be able to decide if they so choose to go past that, surpass that 15,000. That gives the council the option to do it if the council so chooses.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know we did talk about it specifically for Peanut Festival, but it didn't get put in the resolution that way.
Well, and it could, you would limit yourself if you say only for the Peanut Festival. We don't know what exception may be. Maybe, I know we may have another balloon festival or whatever happens, I don't know. But so she may want to leave it open, but it's your decision to go with that.
We made that decision as a council. I think if there needs to be a change or something, I think we need to
Go.
go back and
But if you want to put that.
do
if you
another
want-
resolution
if you
on
want to put
that.
that, if you want to amend this resolution,
Yes.
then you can add that language, and then we can put it on the agenda for another time for you all to vote.
Yeah.
We can have to amend that
And-
language, but I just want to say that you're actually limiting yourself, because like I said, we don't
No,
know,
we're-
I
we're
don't
not.
have the crystal ball, and if you put that in there, then you have to amend it. It restricts you to having options. If we have another balloon festival or whatever, I'm just saying you limited that.
Can I say something?
Oh, sure.
Okay, we're not limiting anything. The thing is that we don't have no fundings, we didn't have enough fundings to give 3 or 4 people or entities that amount of money. Right now, how much money do we have in there? If we give, say, $30,000, how much money will we have for the Balloon Fest or another function that wants to come in?
You collect about $180,000 a year in hotel tax. We use approximately every year, and we use approximately $125,000 every budget go forward for staff and other events. But it's the council's decision in reference to what do you want to be able to do.
Ms. Turner, we have a budget of 42,200, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay,
we have not expended all those funds as of yet.
we have the balance right now is $15,000. That's all we have.
Yes.
So, we've already told other people that after they have their events, they're gonna come and ask for $2,000 or $3,000. You know, I'm just saying in case we run out of money, where are we gonna get the money from?
Well, for example, you all mentioned the peanut festival, that's going to be funded next year and next year's budget.
Because they're gonna wait till after the event,
They're going to do a post.
like the bylaws say.
Their bylaws don't say that.
They don't say that?
No, they do not.
Yeah, it's an application that says that.
It's on the application, it doesn't necessarily, it's not in the bylaws.
Mr. Gonzalez is here. Does it say that, or
In the bylaws.
about having it afterwards?
It doesn't say that, and I don't think it says that in the application.
Okay, so they don't have to wait till after the event?
No, that's another thing. But we passed, and Maurice's here, we passed last year a process that put us putting it after the event, before we were making decisions to approve or not approve before the event on guests. When we were having a shortage, as Councilman Ortiz indicates, we decided to go ahead and make it after the event so we would have real figures in and could make much better decisions. It was approved at our level, it didn't have to come to you.
I mean, that's my only concern. Are we following the rules?
Just know that it is not in their bylaws. And the rule here says you can make an exception.
And
But that's a different thing we're talking about.
Yeah, that's why this was put on the agenda to clarify what the resolution says, but the council has the opportunity, if you want to amend this resolution, to put that in future meetings.
May I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, I can recall that one there, we never specifically said that we were gonna, make that cut for the peanut festival, that was a talkative, what we were talking about because of the shortage of funds, everybody wanted money and there was talk that there were events coming from outside the city and taking money and this and that, but that's not the issue. The issue here is that at the end of the day, it's up to the council. If it's this council and another council comes in, they can make a new resolution. Let's make it plain and simple. The council is always the one that has the last say.
Yeah, but all I gotta say
I know
that you were pretty adamant.
Councilman Mr. Ortiz
Yes.
says.
Yes, you were very adamant.
Yes, I was. But, absolutely, if y'all want to make comparisons and debate this, I'm here to debate it. The peanut festival, we don't get any fees from the beer. Here we do. How much did the beer collected, Henrietta?
The concession stand, I believe, was somewhere around $7,000.
7,000, okay.
And they weren't able, as I think Mr. Honor spoke to earlier, they weren't able to serve everybody.
Okay, 6,500, okay.
They weren't able to serve
3,000,
everybody
yeah.
at the time, because
Done.
we weren't expecting a crowd, and they expected 8, and they received over 2,000 people.
If y'all want to get into that mood, I'm willing to go there, but I don't think so. It's a good time to be getting on that boat, because this event here, ladies and gentlemen, this event will put the city on.
We're not talking about the event yet, we're talking
Well,
about
we're
resolution.
talking about what council can say and do. That's what I'm saying. It's just a resolution.
Right,
That you instilled.
right. So basically, the basic line is, you have the resolution in front of you, you can make an exceptions.
Absolutely.
If you so choose. If you
Absolutely.
so choose, but right now there is a cap of 15,000
Right.
per year. So any other questions by the council?
And it's only a presentation.
Right.
Absolutely.
Any citizens' comments? Okay. And,
And do you want this on the agenda for a change?
Yep.
That was a question too.
yeah, that was a question. If any council member feels they so choose, please contact Monica Louise or Mrs. Turner.
And then we can sponsor.
Right.
Right.
And
Thank you.
because we were on that item, we're going to go ahead and go to item, item 4A, consideration action to approve resolution 20. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm talking K. Item K, consideration action to approve disbursement of hotel motel tax in the amount of $12,000 to TMB and PRV Entertainment. Councilman Ortiz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council, staff, and guests. It is time to hear good news instead of bad news. Whenever the city sponsors something and it goes into a default, into the red, and we have funded other things, other promotions that, you know, the public were upset, whether if it was a 4th of July or some dance or whatever. But let me say this, and I hope it'll be heard good. This event will make a big dent on this city, a positive dent that will open up eyes and say, you know what, this is something good for the community, the city, the state, and hopefully international. This individual here is, he's bright. I believe last council meeting was the first time I met Mr. Ricky Morones, and he impressed me, not just by his talkative speech, you know, he gave, but about the numbers. It is the numbers that give the real facts, the numbers. Yes, there was a resolution, but when this resolution the council can approve and then say, okay, you know what, we got something good here, and let's try it out. But it is up to the council. If they want to say no, that's fine. If they want to say yes, that's fine. But let me just say this. Councils have given other events way much more money than 12,000, 7,000. Way much more, ladies and gentlemen. And people have been complaining. This company here, this promotion is making money. A big event is coming up. And Mr. Perez, the event director, he wasn't even ready. And we brought in, say, 5,000. And let me say this. How much money do we absolutely exactly get from the Peanut Festival? Because the thing around here was that they threw in the Peanut Festival. Yeah, they bring in hotel motels, but we don't get much from the sales. How much do we get? Not much. Yeah, we get it. You know, people come up here and see the parade and see this. The hotel could fill up. But Mr. Morales, if he was to come up here, Madam Mayor, and explain what's exactly coming up.
I'd like to ask Mr. Morones and Mr. Eindrat, because I think they've been working somewhat together, and I know you're endorsing
Working
this.
together, and we would like to make the presentation, and the council allows to do.
Okay, if both of y'all would come up to the podium, and I'm not rushing, but due to a long item,
It won't take too
a
long.
long list of items.
As you all know, you have a copy of the presentation, and I would like to go with Mr. Morales with it. And if you all have any questions that he has every answer for you, I did prepare the presentation for him because he was on the advisory board requesting the money. He didn't have all the information to get the package across. So I offered myself to help him, and we spent about 4 hours together working on this in Monday, and got it finally done to send it to the council. As you notice on the first item on the justification, we have 3 parts. The promoter in promotion has 3 days professional boxing event featuring 3 main events for the total of 9 professional events at the Floresville Event Center on July the 27th. Then they have the weigh-in at the Helicast or the motel on the 26th. The official press conference comes in this coming Sunday. It's free for the people, and TV stations and the movie media and the radio station will be there. They explain that some of the stations, you see, might be one TV station coming in, they'll be transmitting to other relays so they don't have to be present. So just because you see one, don't think that there's no other people involved connecting into this site. The television and radio will be in attendance, and they'll be streaming. The Netflix is getting involved on this package now, and as you know, we have a member for Netflix that have been Marco de la O present. We're going to have the Division World Champion Mike Garcia and New Orleans Saints Michael Davenport. So when last time with KTSA, when they streamed, they have about 250,000 viewers worldwide. Now, with the new package that they're coming in and other people getting involved to stream this event, is expected that 750,000 people will view the fight. We put in Floresville on the spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Out of that, they're expecting about to have about 2,400 people coming in rather than 1,600 from last time. The event center now going to have 4 concessions open rather than 1. So this should generate 4 times as much money as last time. He also brings bigger fighters with more power, and this is what we have. We're expecting about 2,400 people. Out of that, 40% that in the attendance, they will come out from different parts of the country: Mexico, California, Oklahoma, Houston, and Dallas, and they will be using the hotels here in the city. Here, what happened with the hotel business normally run a 50% vacancy. When the event last time came in, the sponsor hotel, the Holiday Inn, overflowed, and they had to send people to the other hotels. Therefore, they had 200 rooms on this hotel, 100 of them don't, or 80, that's all they get daily or during the week. When he had the event, they overflowed. So if we want to count heads in beds, we increased it by 50%, making it 100% capacity. So that might be 100 beds, plus the other one goes to the other hotel. And we're collecting $10 in taxes from that on the residents of the hotel. So this event is creating overflows on the hotel occupancy.
You made a comment, Mr. Patrick, about parking. I think we were a little, I was a little confused on that.
Yeah, we're going to have, let me get to that item. The boxing promoters, they will be here ahead of time, so that'll be part of the deal. And if we go into the parking part of it, let me make a suggestion on that. The planning marketing, we already know he was with Telemundo today and KTSA, so the whole thing goes worldwide. If you go Google search, you're going to see how much the city is moving already. They have sold over 1,400 tickets already. So if we expect 2,400, we're going to be almost to full capacity at the event center. The capacity is 3,000, we're going to be very close. He's going to be very close to that. I just assisted him. It was brought to me the situation where they might considering charging parking. It has been my experience that with promotions and things like that, people don't like to pay for parking. And we're not the animal dome, but they force the people to do that. However, here's the thing. It has been the experience even with Marion, Texas, on the racetrack, that the new owner took over, they start charging for parking and people quit coming in. So now they don't get no business. What I suggested was, it's just my recommendation, that rather than charge for parking, on the drinks that are sold, raise it about $1 and share that revenue with the city, which is we bring more money to parking. And everybody will be happy. It's kind of interesting thing, but people are not willing to pay for parking, or they're not willing to pay for taxes, but if you give them a lottery ticket, they buy 10 of them. So if you let them drink the beer, they buy 10 of them. You charge them for parking, well, I'm going to my take someplace else. They charge you in San Antonio $8 for a beer. They charge you over here $4, so I think that we charge $5 or $4.50 for easy change, $5. So it'd be much easier to give the change back and so on. And this revenue can be shared with the city rather than the parking. And with expectation of the amount of people that are going to be seeing, and 750,000 people, over 1,400 tickets already sold, and this gentleman is gifted by promoting this type of product.
I don't think there's a question as far as the success.
Most people, my people, some like it, my don't, but I'm not interested in that. And the only interested is to help the community to develop. I don't get nothing out of this. I spend my time with him and stuff like that because I like to help the community. And our recommendation was for the $12,000, and hopefully you'll be able to grant it to him, and it would be well money spent. So if you have any questions, he'll be able to answer it for you because he's more familiar with this product.
Yes, Councilman Ortiz.
How long has that event center been open? Does anybody know? No.
2011, I believe.
9 years.
9 years.
7, 8,
How-
9 years.
8, 9 years. How many times has it sold out? Gloria? Like
As
full
far as what are you
capacity?
talking about, sold out?
One.
Sold out.
What event was it?
One of the holiday extravaganzas with Paul Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay.
One that was sold out.
Okay. How much funds did the city put in that event? Around 45,000?
I wasn't here, so I can't answer
Okay,
that.
We're straying from.
But
I wasn't here.
But the thing is here is that we got something good going on here.
We realize that.
Okay.
We will disagree.
Okay, fine.
We do not disagree at all.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to open the floor to any council member that has a comment.
That's it.
Any citizens' comments?
Yeah, I've got a comment.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, you will be coming up after Mr. Jimenez.
My
Excuse
comment.
me, did he have anything to say, Mr. Morgan?
No, I've got a question.
Okay, go ahead, George, sorry.
Okay. You know the situation we're in, right?
No, I don't really.
Okay, I mean, that's why the discussion was coming in. We're kind of low in funds and that tourism. Okay. What number do you think you need for our system? Of course, everybody wants a lot of money, but because we're going to have to do some type of amendment here to say, hey, well, you know what? We're going to give you your 15, the total, which would be 8. Would 10 do it?
So, first and foremost, I'm not going to ever ask for
I don't know.
more than what I need.
Yes.
I don't know the situation, like I said, but I do know, I live here, so I hear things, right? But I don't need nobody to buy me a pair of shoes or pay my rent.
No, I understand that.
So I'm always gonna ask, no, I'm getting to your question.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna ask for is always what I need.
Yeah.
And that was talked about months ago, what I need, and that was the $12,000 for me to bring an event here. I wasn't in line to bring an event here. It was the people, it was, I don't need to mention it, so many people that wanted this event because there is money to be made for the city. The first time y'all were very limited on what y'all could really do, and I mentioned to them, make sure you have 3 or 4 concessions. And they weren't ready for it, they didn't expect it. This time I think they're ready for it. So, you know, that's what I asked for, what I need to bring an event here. In San Antonio, as I mentioned before, I get $25,000, $30,000 total in sponsors. I didn't get that the first time I was here. So now I feel I might get the support from the city, so I have no problem being able to bring an event here. And even 12 grand, honestly, doesn't fulfill a $65,000, $70,000 show that I do in a small town in Floresville. I do it because I love Floresville, I do it because I feel y'all need it, I feel the citizens need it. So that's what my request was, and I was getting a real, this is all, I'm kind of like surprised now because I was very led to believe that I was going to receive that, and I didn't, so all this is, I'm unexpected to be here right now, but I'm here 2 weeks before a fight, 2 weeks before my fight, and I'm still trying to figure out why I haven't received a check, or why I'm still trying to figure out, you know, so this is kind of new to me being here right now this fast.
Okay, I got another question. Who told you that they were going to give you this money?
Well, there was nothing never committed saying I'm
No,
going to.
you're saying that.
Yeah, so if I said I was dead on. I didn't see anybody told me. I said I was dead on, to quote my
I know,
words.
but who led you on?
So I had a meeting with.
Because we have council, we have a city manager and stuff, and I mean, no one's really, well, I mean, we really can't communicate like that, but you know, when you present it to a board or something, I mean, we usually get the feedback on that. And
Yeah, so
it's
I
been a
said.
while. And another thing, back again, you know, the councilman here, and they put a stipulation that we could only give a total of $15,000 per year. And we were going to give you 5, he said to give you 7, so we all decided to give you 7. So that leaves you 8 left.
It was 6 and then
No, it was 5, and you went to 7. Okay, so there's,
That doesn't matter.
I know, but there's 8,000 left, that's what I'm getting at. So now, we're gonna have to see if they wanna amend or whatever to give you more or whatever. And that's what I was saying, if you could settle for 10 or something like that. And that way we won't be both dry in that area.
Yeah, if I would have been here a month and a half, 2 months ago, I would have told you not a problem at all. I'm 2 weeks before an event, a big one. So that's real tough.
But I'm just, so for the next time, maybe.
For sure, I'm starting to get a hang of what I'm starting to need to do again, because this is, again, I've never had to do any of this. Even Mr. Rogers heard earlier, this paperwork and stuff, I don't know. It's not, you know, I needed somebody like Mr. Roy to step up and say, hey, I'm going to help you along with this ride. So, I mean, I have that now, so I think it's okay.
In the future, that's the reason I'm saying what I'm saying now, that I'm trying to be this or that, but it's for your benefit, because anytime you ask for a board, we have a list of things, criteria that you have to follow, and you know, sometimes people come and ask for other monies, like Mr. Ortiz said, from different parts of out of the city of Floresville, and they get certain amounts and stuff. I think city business is city business. That's my part. You know, as a councilman, that's how I feel. But there's a lot of stipulations that you have to follow, and criteria that you have to follow for the disbursement of a hotel motel from the tax or from the tourism board, and that's the reason we have board members there for that. You know, so you know.
Like I said, I appreciate you telling me that, caring enough for me to tell me that, because I didn't know you.
And now wait to the last minute.
Okay.
Well, again, this was tough. Okay, yeah, I just want to make that clear because I discussed this months ago. So this is, I'm here 2 weeks before an event. I have across my poster that I'm posting, sponsored by the city of Floresville. I'm promoting that without having anything. I'm realizing without not even really, I guess I expected something that wasn't there. I'm not going to sit here and mention names because I'm learning. A lot of people don't even get along with each other here, and it's sad to say that. But so I'm not going to mention nobody's name and put nobody in the bus. But I am irritated that this was talked about months ago, and I'm 2 weeks before the event. I should be out there promoting or matchmaking or doing what I got to do to keep making it bigger. But I'm here and still trying to figure out, what people are going to say, or is this even happening or not. I kept my word. I put your big logo right in front of the poster. If you go to K-Stat de Mundo right now on Google, it says Big Trilogy coming to the city of Floresville, Texas, 190 shares in an hour and a half. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to put Floresville on the map, like he said, and I'm here to make y'all money. I'm here to help these kids, give them something to do, get them off the street. So, again, I appreciate you telling me that, because like I said, I wasn't aware of any of this. If I had you promote my event without me guiding you to do that, that's not your world. You don't understand it, so that's where I'm at, just to make that clear.
And before I go any further, Mr. Gonzalez, I know you've been wanting to say something, and you've been a big part of decisions on the hotel motel tax.
Mayor, Council, am I on? Fred Gonzalez, Floresville. My comments have to do with the process, not the substance, not the quality or anything like that. When I was coming over here, I looked up the item since it was coming up, and I noticed this request was presented at the Visitors and Tourist Board meeting on 26 June. It was not a CNA item on their posted agenda. It was a review and discuss. And I'm concerned, that they're not doing the job properly, and that could render this invalid at this point. Because, as you know, it should be posted properly. And as the Visitors and Tourist Board, by not having done that, has not officially taken any action yet. This shouldn't be here yet. And that's my concern. And again, it's more back on what we do or don't do. The second concern, it appears that Councilman Ortiz is sponsoring this item. It was seen that defeats the purpose of having an independent review before it comes before the council. But if it's properly here, I would say at least that Councilman Ortiz should not take any part in the decision making.
I disagree.
Hold on, he's got the floor.
The board, as you recall, was established to eliminate making decisions without proper vetting. And here, this is something that needs to be vetted against requirements by law. And the most important thing here has to do with how many people we put in hotel motel. It has nothing to do with what it costs to have the event. And the reason for having done what we did was, again, to take it away from the political arena and the pressure that comes to the council. And to me, what we're doing here is going to put us back where we were, and it makes that board unnecessary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have a comment and then I'm ready for a motion.
Yes.
Considering Mr. Gonzalez's statement and having served on the tourism board with him, I've seen where the board has tried to improve their practices and tried to fulfill the purpose of that vetting process. That way the council doesn't have to go into the nitty-gritty of whether or not these funds should be allocated or meet requirements for allocation. And it took some time, and I do feel that the board are the ones that should be guiding the applicants as to the processes and what is required and what is needed. And on behalf of the city, I want to apologize to Mr. Morones, as he felt he had not received that from the very get-go. That is not our intention, to leave you out there in the middle of the ocean trying to sink or swim, and then coming to us trying to meet all of our expectations. Considering we're planning our budget, council may want to consider the amount or the percentage that we look into for our hot funds for next year when we're thinking about disbursements. If we're really concerned about a resolution that was passed the prior year and meeting a cap, we may want to consider the types of events that will be coming to us, that will be returning. We want events to continue to return, so that is something that council will be looking at as we plan our budget. Given that, I want to make a motion to approve disbursement of the hotel motel funds in the amount of $10,000 for TMB and PRB entertainment for this fiscal year.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Jimenez. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Martinez. Any citizens' comments before we go forward with the, yes, we have one right here.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Claudia Garza, and I was asked to work that event by Mr. Pettis that night, and I have never been to a boxing match, but I must say that I was really impressed with how it was set up. I was amazed at the amount of people that were there, and you are right, Mr. Morales. The concession stands hopefully will be taken care of, because he could have made, or I don't know how that money's dispersed, but there could have been more money made at the concession stands. So hopefully, this time, if that's the amount of people he's expecting, then hopefully concessions and the beer concessions can accompany all that, which they did, the beer did. And the other thing, I'm not a social media person, so I never saw your announcement, so I just heard about it, so I didn't know if you had flyers or anything of that nature to put out in town. That was all my concern. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Was there a first and second?
Yes, there was, I have a motion on the floor by Ms. Jimenez and a second by, yes.
Before it takes up. I just want to say that I don't blame Mr. Morales if he does not come back. No, it's just my opinion, because the committee, Convention and Tourism Committee, approved $12,000. I mean, for $2,000, if he does not have trust in the city of Floresville, this gentleman has been promoting the city, not his uncle or whomever. He's been promoting the city for $2,000.
Point of order.
There's no point of order.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
You're trying to degrade the other council members.
Okay.
We're just trying to follow the bylaws.
We
That's
have a
all we're trying to
motion and a second, let's
The ones
continue.
that you put in place.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other citizens' comments? If not, all those in favor?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Andre.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
My comment is that he committed himself to hire more expensive boxers, contemplating that he, based on that money, now somehow the boxers already contracted out, they want the money, and we'll see how it plays out. But you all get the final decision. Thank you very
I'd like
much.
to say something real quick, if I can. I know you said we're in a rush.
But no, I do want to say I appreciate you for what you said, Mr. Ortiz. I have a heart here in Floresville, so I've been hit up by Del Rio, the people in Pleasanton were at the last fight. Everybody's asking to be. But the only reason why I come out of the big city is because I love Floresville. And it's not about the $2,000, okay? It's not at all. It's the principle, okay? It's the principle. I was told a certain number, and for y'all to go back on, it's the principle. Whether it's right or wrong, or she said, I don't know. But if you told me that, you represent everybody up here. If the city manager told me that, she represents everybody here. So y'all represent each other. It's just like anything else. It's a team, right? So the whole point is to better the city of Floresville, period. So it's not about the $2,000, it is the principle. If I told you to meet me at lunch at 6 o'clock and I don't show up without even letting you know, you're gonna be upset. You're gonna be bothered. It's not cool, period. So it's not about the $2,000, trust me, it's not. It is the principle. If you can't comply and somebody went wrong by saying they can do something without figuring out that they really couldn't, then you still gotta step up to the plate and make something happen. But anyways, thank you.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? 3-2. Thank you very much. And I think this has opened the eyes of this council to this process, because this,
You said 3 to 2.
Or one.
It's for one.
okay, I couldn't see it.
Or one, right?
4-1? Okay, I'm sorry. So this council needs to be aware of what had happened in this situation so that it does not happen again.
Mayor.
To us first.
Yes.
I'd like to say something, and I'm just gonna reiterate what I said before. There's things that we put in place for a reason, like right now, the police department wants new cars. You know, if we had to buy them ourselves, we wouldn't be able to. You know, luckily we got a grant. You know, we've been having problems, money issues here. You know, and it's not just one thing, it's another thing. And sometimes we pass resolutions for a reason, and it's not because we want to be mean or whatever. It's just, you got to run it like you run your household. You can't go and spend money that you don't have. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't turn out that way. You know, it's not my money, it's everybody's money. So, you know, I don't want nobody leaving being upset or nothing. We do what we can do.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, that was it. And, you know, there's a process that, back again, that you come up to, and the boards have got to tell you what's available and what's not available. And when we pass a resolution, I wish it would put everything in there the way it's supposed to be. You know, when we passed it, I think on that part was with the exception of the peanut festival. And they didn't put it in the resolution, so, you know, therefore.
Thank you, Councilman. One more quick comment.
I just have a question for Rick. I just want to know, do you understand at the last meeting I was there, and do you understand the process and everything, Rick, so nobody will say different to you in the future? As far as your applications and everything?
Yeah, Mr. Roy, yes, I do understand it, you know, but again, so not cool. So, you know, whether I want to give you $10,000 or not, you know, I can't cancel an event 2 weeks before, but it's super not cool, you know, very, very, very unprofessional, especially in y'all's character, y'all's it's where y'all sit. You know, if you tell somebody you're gonna do something, you gotta do it, period. And if somebody else did it without y'all knowing, y'all gotta step up and clean that mess up and make it right, period. But thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to, and again, I'm shifting things around due to time constraints, but I'm moving on to item L, consideration and action to approve resolution 2019-013, designating and authorized signatures for the USDA Rural Housing Service to apply for financial assistance under the Community Facilities Loan and Grant Program. Detective Rodriguez, I think this is your item, and this goes with what you told us early on in the meeting.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
No, second it.
Okay. All the any citizens' comments or any comments by the council concerning this? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time for doing this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we're going back up to our regular agenda. Item 3B, Spectrum update. I think that will be tabled because Mrs. Rodriguez is not here, and she has probably, unless,
No,
Mike.
I don't have anything.
Okay, so we're going to table item 3B. Going on to item 3C, city boards. City manager.
Yes, Mayor, in your packet you have a short memo for me in reference to vacancies for boards. So you have a list of those boards that we have. There are some of them coming up for you tonight. So the 4A board has 1 vacancy, and there is something on the agenda for you to vote on tonight. FEDC has 2 vacancies, and there's 1 appointment on the agenda for tonight. The Visitor and Tourism Bureau has 1 vacancy. There's no applications that we have presented in your packet. There is an application there, so if you want to encourage someone, it is on the website to encourage someone to apply, but you also have a copy in your packet. Something that's new is appraisal district. We have a vacancy. Scott Sisti has resigned. And so I have spoken to the school board because we usually do that jointly. They are in support of your nomination that is in your packet for tonight. We're going to, if you decide to select the one person who applied for it, we'll pass on to the school and they will do so, and that will complete that term until January of 2020. Additionally, back in May of 2019, the council approved a hike and bike committee of 7 members, and that is in your packet.
Ms. Turner, can we change that to 8? No, because there's 8 applicants.
You need to have an odd number for typically because it helps network with ties. They can tell you usually boards are 5, 7, 9. Usually it's an odd number. You can increase that number if you so care to, but it would need to be an odd number. The other committee would be the committee of establish the census count committee that you all established on May of 2019 as well. Please note this is also 7 members, and 2 of the members should be elected officials, but we haven't had any applicants for that as well. As you know, the census is the topic of conversation on the national media, and so we need to make sure everybody is counted. And I just heard this evening that the citizenship question will not be on the census question. So that is really something that's very, very important that kicks off in April 1 of 2020. And so we need to have 2 councilmen to volunteer, and then we need to go recruit 5 other people.
Any questions by the council? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And moving on to item D, the annexation update. We have Chris Stewart with Moody Engineering.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor and Council. I'm here to just give a quick update that we're in the final stretch of the annexation process for the 3-year annexation, municipal annexation plan. We have essentially one step. We have one step tonight that kind of formalizes our actions taken to date, and that will come in the new business section of your agenda. But then following that, we're going to be finalizing the service plan and taking final action.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
So anyway, we're in the final stretch. Couple last little items that we're going to be coming to you for. Just want to also note one of the outcomes of the 86th legislative session in the state was House Bill 374, and it kind of came as a surprise to a lot of people over the companion Senate bill. 374 went further than the original Senate bill had envisioned and placed limitations on involuntary annexation across the state to all cities, not just limited to the larger ones. So that kind of came as a surprise, but in reviewing at least the final bill that was filed, I haven't seen the actual bill that was signed by the governor, but in reviewing that 374, it has an effective date of September 1st. And so by the schedule that we had established 3 years ago when we set this in motion, the earliest date that we can take action to finalize our annexation is August 25th, or August 26th. And so we would still be able to work underneath the deadline, September 1st deadline. I know that we, Monica had indicated that you all have a budget workshop tentatively set for August 27th. And so it would be possible, while we all are all gathered for that, to take that final action on the annexation, and then we should be clear of the HB 374 issue if that were to become an issue.
And I don't mean it, well, I do mean it, I'm sorry, but because it has gotten so much publicity at the House Bill 347,
347, correct.
Right, 347, there has been some confusion, especially with me, as far as are we doing everything legally pertaining to that bill? I know it's a long one, but there were some wording that I read that I wasn't very clear of. gotten legal advice to make sure that we're doing this properly?
No.
Because of this bill?
Okay.
Hold on. I'm just asking, because you're saying that that because we started this a while back, that we're, I don't want to say the word grandfathered in, but it will not affect us? Or do we go by what this new bill that he's passed?
Well, the bill hasn't passed yet.
The bill is passed, and it has,
What is that? But it's got a deadline of September.
its effective date is September 1st. And so by the calendar that we set way back, there's a 3-year anniversary from the date that you start, and that would fall on August 26th. So there's a window in there between August 26th, the earliest date that we could do it, and September 1st, which is when the bill goes into effect, that we can still take action and
But
go
that
ahead
won't
and touch
affect
on
nothing
plate.
for the bill, right?
Yes, before the bill goes in, before the law goes into effect. So that's my interpretation of the law, but I'm not an attorney, and that's also why you guys hire your own counsel.
And Sylvia Rodriguez did go, actually she helped write the resolution that you have before you. The resolution you have before you, chronological, goes back to 2016 and issues and talks about every agenda, every item, every public hearing that's required. Every time we had a presentation and or discussion on annexation is listed in that resolution. And the attorney, Sylvia, has given me the instructions that we have to pass this before September 1st because the bill goes into effect September 1 of 2019. But we have passed everything according to the state statute on public hearings and notices, and I know you all remember those wonderful meetings that we had, even the agreements that we have in place for those for the agricultural exemption. We've changed around with the map back and forth, and we had to do that back in, I believe, last year in August was the last time we finalized the map. And we've done everything that we've done. We've even notified the state that we're going to do an annexation, which is important as we talk about the census again. So we've done everything legally. We've reviewed it with the attorney, and this is the resolution that she said we need to pass. And then going forward, and then Mayor, you attended the meeting that we had with the county prior to this being passed. Her instructions at that time was we needed to have a finalized meeting for the plan.
You need someone to sponsor for the next agenda, the next meeting?
It's on your agenda for tonight for passage. But you need, we will need someone to sponsor, Councilman, a special meeting so that we can pass for the 27th, is that right?
27th.
The 27th of August, the last date. And the effective date for us for annexation would be October 1. We've also talked with the assessor office, they were there. We have given them all the documents they needed, and they are prepared to start because it's a year delayed because of taxes. So we will go into effect October 1, and then it will be starting to be taxed the following year. But you have an attorney here, you can ask his opinion. Chris, were you finished with your?
That's all I got. I'm available for your questions, so.
Okay.
It's up to us.
Counsel or legal counsel, any comments?
No, I mean, it's my understanding of reviewing the statute that the very end of it, it says this act takes effect September 1st, 2019. Right before that, there's a transition section, and it basically says that annexation that is not final by this date. So, I mean, if there's an annexation that's already, if there's a resolution on it, then that's, I mean, that's a final annexation. I mean, as long as it's before September 1st, 2019, I think it's clear.
Okay. Any other comments by the council? Or any citizen comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
That was a presentation.
Oh,
It's a presentation.
I'm sorry, I'm going to that next, though. I'm going to
Yes,
that next.
that would be item.
That was item D, and if no other comments or questions, we will go on to new business, item 4A, consideration action to approve resolution 2019-012.
You want a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Jimenez. Do I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. Martinez. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. All right, moving on back up to presentation of our item 3E for